Right, perfect. Greetings, metalheads. Welcome into the latest episode of the Fundamentalists, and holy shit, is it going to be an eventful one. So many new bands, great bands at that, have dropped new music today, this Friday, September 6th, 2018. We're not going to talk about the Colin Kaepernick Nike ad. We're not going to talk about fucking rap beefs. We don't give a fuck that Mac Miller died. There's new Arsis. There's new Aborted. There's new Behemoth. There's new fucking Obscura.
These are the important things going on in life today.
The real shit. Welcome into the Fundamentalists. Prost.
Skull.
Woo! So, we begin this action-packed episode of the Fundamentalists. Let's discuss that new Behemoth single, Wolves of Siberia. Now, for those of you with really good memories, you might recall that Wolves of Siberia was the first track that Behemoth started playing live when they first started to tease people with new material from their upcoming record, I Loved You at Your Darkest. Out October 5th on Nuclear Blast Records, in case you've forgotten. Anyway, the video itself is pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy as far as the visuals go. And really the song is kind of the same way, although I have to say I'm a big fan. One thing me and Dan were noticing though is how the vocals aren't necessarily clean, but in the backing of the background tracks of the vocals, there's like these yelling.
He's got an interesting vocal layering thing going on now where the meat of the line is his traditional grim vox growl vocal thing. Excuse me. But he's incorporating more of his clean kind of yelling out into the void. This vocal, you've heard it before. We've heard it on the Satanists too. Oh Father, oh Satan, oh Son. Yeah. The way he performed those lines, that's being layered into pretty much all the song on this track.
Yeah, it's apparent on God Equals Dog. It does single.
It does an interesting little thing where it makes the last word of the line ring out a little bit more. So, from a production standpoint, I think it's really interesting signature, and I like it. I don't think we need to worry that he's going to be singing in falsettos anytime soon, though.
No, but I do think that it will mean that more people will know more Behemoth lyrics, which might include more singing along in live shows, which, obviously
makes
every show better. If you feel a part of it,
you're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah, and more people knowing Behemoth lyrics is obviously going to make the world a better place. Come on, let's get real here. Oddly enough, it's funny, we were talking earlier about how, even if a fan only knows a couple of words or can only decipher a few lines from the song and the chorus, that makes a huge difference. Just ask Cattle Decapitation, who just recently won over Dan, as he discussed on the last podcast. But obviously some of those vocals are pretty indecipherable the first few times you listen until you really get to know, Travis.
And honestly, I think it was the same kind of situation. Really kind of what won me over the most was his, what we affectionately termed his dying goat vocal, and it's that clean vocal that sounds strained, so it lets you decipher more lyrics, but it doesn't sound like goddamn country music, so that's good. Wolves of Siberia, that there's an interesting little fanfare bridge, kind of, where it's a big horn section in it before the blast beat follow through at the tail end of the song. The song's super short.
Blast beat follow through. Don't we all know that true black metal is nothing but blast beats, sir?
Well, when you want to incorporate Symphony, you gotta break it up a little bit. But I think it's going to be another situation like Blow Your Trumpets, Gabrielle, where we won't know the strength of this track until we hear the whole album, which I think is a good thing. Okay, I think
some mystery to it.
I think metal should have more cinematography, should have more production value, should have more overall artistic direction. I feel like, it sucks when a track doesn't sit on its own as strong, because when you're listening to, say, your iPod or iPhone now, I just dated myself. But when you're listening to stuff on shuffle,
Zune.
All right, when you're listening to stuff on shuffle, it always really pissed me off when a Cradle of Filth intro track would come on, because it's just usually like to put it in lesser terms, a bunch of sound effects and weird shit like that, which led into the first actual track, which now you've got like this fucking movie going on. It's the opening credits to the song if this were a movie. So yeah, it sucks in like the shuffle perspective, but as in making albums an entire event, like I think that's a better move for metal. I feel like we should start doing. I feel like there should start being albums where we need listening parties. We all fucking get our drinks, sit around, and fucking put the shit on vinyl, and we just enjoy the track. Everybody shuts the fuck up, gets off your phone, much like you do at a movie theater.
I would agree. I feel like really only in metal do albums still count as full-on experiences, or I guess you could probably include that in the whole rock and roll realm in general. I feel like everywhere else in pop and the hip-hop world, it's all about the singles. But I feel like still, when I get a new record, I don't like to just put it in my car, hear a track or two here, hear a track or two there when I'm driving. The first time I hear a record, I sit down and listen to it, because I feel like that's the only way to truly get what they're trying to convey to you, really. And it's interesting. You talked about people adding in new production value. That new Arsis video for Tricking the Gods off their upcoming record, The Visitant. You should check that out.
Incredible production value on that video. A great Arsis track.
What was the line you said? It's amazing to have such great production value just to have
a dude in a fucking werewolf costume. Like
not even a good one. It's like an intentionally cheesy one, like one you get from like.
I mean, there were intentional B-rate horror film aesthetics being applied.
With the schlocky, like, cult, satanic ritual there in the very beginning.
And deliberately applied, that's really cool. But as far as, like, this is the best we can do, that's not cool. But no, we're totally going to give a throwback to the cheesy, like, zombie films we loved growing up. That's cool. So, definitely, it was... watch it for the video, if nothing else. Even if you're not an Arsis fan.
I will say I'm a huge Arsis fan. This new track doesn't really sound like anything different, and that's not a bad thing. Arsis has always been fan-fucking-tastic, especially for the guitar work. They're one of those bands that just makes you remember why you love heavy metal, and that's the fucking riffs. It's just nothing but riff after riff after memorable riff, and then they hit you in the face with some badass fucking leads.
Yes.
And Brandon Ellis is still with the band, currently also with Black Dahlia Murder as well. And James Malone is still fucking god on guitar. So that new Arsis track, Tricking the Gods, absolutely fucking fantastic. Horns up for me. We were talking about production value and aesthetic, and I think that's a good segue to go into the new Aborted track, Vespertine Decay. Now, as you all know, Aborted is a far cry from a band like Behemoth or a band like Arsis.
But this video used a lot of that aesthetic.
Yeah, like I was speaking with Dan,
aesthetic.
How even the death grindy bands are embracing the whole satanic aspect and the satanic aesthetic now, which I guess is cool in a way. I mean, Dan's all about some goth chicks in fucking fishnets and
you're
inverted
married, so you can't admit that on film. But yes,
it don't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. But I just find it interesting that
they're
I don't want to use Ghost as an example, but I feel like since Ghost has gotten really popular, people have realized that, holy shit, people really dig this whole
devil's a marketing tool?
Yeah, Satan's really popular? What?
Yeah.
We should capitalize on that shit.
For real.
Like Aborted, their album art is all about just like murder, gore, some zombie apocalypse type shit, and now all of a sudden it's like
the devil and Satan and hot chicks and fishnets.
Yeah.
Which I ain't mad about. It was kind of interesting, like, I feel like maybe you watching me watch the video, because I'm not an Aborted fan, and I'm just now coming around to that style of metal. In fact, it was kind of funny, because right when the breakdowns came in, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Here comes like an ass shot of the goth chicken fishnets, and it's like, you motherfuckers.
Aborted fans just lit up the torches right there, like, burn him.
Fuck on. Hey, bring it on. Anyways. But no, I mean, personally, I'm starting to just now come around to this brand of metal. Again, we can...
It has a lot to offer.
We can thank or blame Cal Decapitation, whichever way you want to stand. I still can't stand pick squeals and breakdowns. Breakdowns don't go with Satan, but they redeem themselves on the guitar solo in that video and the blast. So
And the vocalist is fucking nasty.
the vocals are nasty.
Speaking of nasty vocals. All right, this isn't new. This came out like a year ago. But there's this band called The Beast in Black. I just shared it on the Facebook page. And I've been sharing it with a bunch of people right now since I've heard it. The vocalist, oh my God. I probably should have looked up his name just so I could give him proper credit. But
That
talk
guy
about having some
is
fucking pipes.
insane, dude.
Imagine
Insane.
if, like, once era Nightwish had a baby with, like,
If
80s power metal.
No, if Nightwish grew a pair and played 80s metal, okay? I'm a Nightwish fan, I'll say it. But
That
was
analogy
only
works because the vocalist now is a dude. So, yeah.
Yeah.
For repair. He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Too bad
Anyway,
it's 2018.
the
We're about to
hooks
go down
are
for
fucking
gender politics.
huge. Oh my God. You really need to check out Beast in Black.
The vocals are insane. Insane. Like, it's pretty much when the track opens up, he does this, like, soaring note. And I'm just like, what? And then Joel's like, nah, bro. Just wait.
I mean, even
scratch the surface.
I mean, the lyrics, like I said in the post on social media,
The
is
lyrics are
decidedly
great.
unmetal. Like, you know,
The
just
lyrics
thinking
are all about love
shit.
and taking an epic Game of Thrones journey to some chick in a tower. Like,
Taking
it's
an epic journey between her thighs.
oh,
Trying to, or at least singing about how he used to. It is all about the forlorn lost love. This one, but it doesn't matter. The leads are badass. The guitar players have some serious chops, and like I said, the hooks are fucking huge.
and these guys did you a favor because the next time you're trying to next time you're at the bar or wherever. And you're getting hassled about metal and how it's all about the devil and you can't understand what you're saying, blah, blah, blah. Break out this band on YouTube. And I'm not going to say you're going to get laid. I'm just going to say you got firepower against that argument. So
Another thing that band made us talk about is how a lot of popular aesthetics from the 80s are making a serious comeback right now. Whether it be the whole Satan thing, like which caused the satanic panic of the 80s, which led to things
I
like
think
the
it's
PMRC.
the 70s, but you got the name
Well,
of
the
Satanic Panic.
the PMRC and shit like
Yeah.
that. And then the denim jackets with the patches and shit, the leather fucking jackets,
Right.
the fucking falsetto vocals. If more bands like that could come out, the world would be a better fucking place. Beast in Black. Check that shit out.
Definitely.
Now that the one particular track that we shared, something Frozen Love or some shit like that, it's called.
Some bullshit.
Yeah, that's a real fail on my part.
We don't have producers here. We have to do our own legwork. So
Yeah, did you see the shots that we take? Like, we do some heavy fucking drinking on this show. I'm sorry if memories.
We've got a Godzilla fucking figure holding up the camera as a tripod, all right? Times are rough. We need sponsorship.
Look, more people should have Godzilla as a fucking cameraman. I think that's actually a fucking plus for us.
I'm
That's
not
just
disparaging it. I'm just saying what's going on around here.
Anyway, moving on. As far as new metal is concerned, Dan doesn't really have a whole lot to say about this next band.
Is it Blind and Frozen?
That's it, Blind and Frozen.
Blind
Check
and
that
Frozen.
shit out. And if you think it's a little too synthy, a little too poppy, they do have more straight up power metal-y stuff, which is still really great and illustrates all the points we already talked about. Great guitars, fantastic vocals, and just all around badass 80s fucking metal. Definitely check them out. Beast in Black on Nuclear Blast Records. Anyway, arguably, more importantly, Obscura just came out with some new fucking music. A new album, actually, Diluvium. You should definitely check it out. Now, while you could say that maybe this is more of the same from Obscura, but more of the same of Obscura just means really fucking badass tech death with actual fucking songwriting. Interludes that stay in your fucking head. Amazing leads. Groovy ass fucking riffs with bone crushing heaviness. Stephen Krummer is fucking god on guitar, and I don't know how much more he needs to do to cement his status up there on that level. Maybe more and more people just need to fucking listen to them and hear him. Between Obscura and Thalkandra, the dude's just straight up unfuckwithable. And this is another fucking masterpiece from Obscura. Going back to Acroasis or any of the other albums before that, like Retribution or, God, what was the one with the anti-cosmic overload on it? I don't know, that escapes me. Going back to memory issues there. Sorry.
Google it.
Too much weed and booze in my life. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Diluvium, the new Obscura record. Check that shit out.
We kind of rifled through all that stuff. I wasn't expecting to get through half of it, and now we're already we're done giving these guys a proper episode. So I want to bring up something that isn't as joyous, right? But the Mastodon on Metal Sucks released that interview.
Brent Hinds.
About how life on the road and life in metal isn't as peaches and cream as we all fucking...
Go fucking figure that.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so I look at it from two ways. All right, so obviously Brent Hinds lives a life that most of us would be extremely fucking jealous of.
Right, they enjoy a level of success that a lot of us fucking dream about.
Yeah, bands like the Black Dahlia Murder or Arsis, or really any of the bands we cover today outside of maybe Behemoth, but probably even Behemoth would be like, yeah, eat a dick, we'll take a bunch of people in our pockets if we can have your fucking tour bus and the money you're making off of, I don't know, whatever the fuck you're doing.
Right.
But, I mean, Brent Hinds just shines a light on what is the unfortunate reality of the music industry in the modern day. Even a band on Mastodon's level doesn't make the money they arguably should. Definitely, not even arguably, definitely should.
Right.
The label's taking money out of your pocket. The manager's taking money out of your pocket. The promoter's taking money out of your pocket. The venue is taking money out of your pocket.
It's pretty much like when you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's like you've got bills on deck before your money hits your bank account, you know? So, I mean, it's just another form of that. But the reason I want to bring this up is, you know, I feel like as a fan, it's even more reason to make the efforts to go to these fucking shows, right?
Well, I mean, that's long been the only way they make money. I mean, I think that's the first part is bands, when they put out new records, they don't see any money from these records. Records are just an excuse to go on tour again, to make people excited to come see you again.
Right.
So already one huge part of your labor, the writing the new songs, recording the new songs, which if you've never had to write and record a fucking album, shit fucking sucks.
Yeah,
as a guitar player, being burdened, as much fun as it is to fucking write a new record and then recording it, which is just not fucking fun at all.
No.
And then knowing that you're not going to see a dime off of it because the label's going to take it all.
Recording it pretty much is an act of... I mean, a lot of you that watch us and listen to us are musicians yourself, so we're just, we're speaking to the converted. But in order to record, you have to dissect what you're doing. So maybe when you're writing a riff or a lyric as a vocalist, you have this grand fucking idea in your head. You have to break that down to the bare fucking bones just to record it, just to rebuild it into some kind of fucking masterpiece, or at least you hope.
Especially with a band like Mastodon, he's got some really fucking layered material, especially on these later records. Stuff like Crack the Sky really comes to mind, like an absolute fucking masterpiece. But really, all of Mastodon shit's a masterpiece. But I don't want to get off tangent. Anyway, Brent Hinds was saying that he essentially, after this next tour ends, he basically wants to take a minimum of a year off just to recharge his batteries. Because essentially,
I don't blame him.
He said the main quote that people were running with in the metal press and music press was, "I would rather frame houses than be a touring musician anymore," which comes off as a little whiny. I mean, maybe that's genuinely how he feels, but he's making significantly more money than a fucking metal framer or a house framer is doing. Maybe it's not worth it to him for the time away from his family and friends and being able to put down roots. I don't know.
How your hustle is.
But I would guarantee you that most house framers also look at him and be like, be a multi-millions record selling international touring band or framing houses in the 100-degree sun.
What? I mean,
grass isn't always greener on the other side. Is the moral of the fucking story.
And again, I bring this all up just to give another insight as fans. I'm like semi OCD on some weird levels. I think way too much about obscure things that no one gives a shit about. But my point is, again, the soapbox. Go to these fucking shows, whether they're like, whether it's a bar that's only going to hold 20 people, or it's like a big fucking, show in a place like House of Blues or whatever, a Live Nation venue, basically, like an 800 cap kind of place. Go to these fucking shows, and if you're lucky enough to get some FaceTime with these musicians and they don't quite fucking seem like, they're happy to be there, don't think they're dicks. Like, they're just dealing with a whole ton of shit you don't even know about. In order for...
Probably traveled in a really shitty van to get there if I stinky ass dudes.
Dude, in order for 90 minutes of music to happen on stage, 12 hours of work have to happen before the audience even thinks about getting to the venue. So just keep in mind, just keep this shit in mind.
It's a labor of love, and emphasis on the word labor. I think you are right. I think most people don't really acknowledge how much work actually goes into it. I think most people would like to think that they just show up, plug in, and play, and then dip, and then do drugs and fuck.
When we saw Trivium at the House of Blues,
yeah,
that was...
Well, I saw them. You worked this show. We should give this man credit. He's part of the people making the whole thing work.
But, I want to give props to Matt Heafy. Heafy, right? Am I saying it right? I had both experiences with this guy. I saw him... Trivium was in support of a tour for In Flames when Come Clarity came out. And it was also like...
I was like back in 2010 or 11, Come Clarity. It was like...
No, it was before that. Even.
Maybe 2009, maybe? Come Clarity was a long time ago.
It was before it came...
No, that's 2007.
Before college.
That's 2007.
Way before we met.
Yeah, Come Clarity is 2007.
Right.
With fucking Take This Life and shit on
yes.
it. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
God, I'm getting old.
So, anyways, I go to this tour. I see it in Atlanta, Georgia.
That was the heel turn record for In Flames, for those of you who don't know.
Right. That was...
When they finally said, fuck you to Mellow Death for the most part.
So, anyways, it was a great fucking show. I think 3 Inches of Blood, Devil Driver, and Zayo was on it. Fucking, I was excited about that because I only like 2 songs by Zayo, and they played them, and I was happy about it. Anyways, the point is, after the show, I managed to get next to Matt Heafy, and he was just... I don't know, man. He just seems like he was just not having it. And, he... On Spotify, you can find interviews and things of him talking about having, social anxiety or some kind of stuff like that. So maybe that played a part. But the bigger part is tour life fucking sucks, But flash forward to 2018, where I happened to be working at a venue that he's playing at. And it was the last show of this tour that they did. And he thanked his production guys, the sound guy, his lighting guy, everybody involved that day. That was a big fucking move, man. And the quote was real. In order for 90 minutes of music to happen, 12 to 15 hours of work have to take place. So go to these fucking shows, guys. This is how we keep what we love alive. We can all confess that metal's a small fucking blip on the radar of existence. And it has a lot of misconceptions about what it was about. So, anyways.
Well said,
This is what happens when you give me alcohol.
Well, that's why we're cutting us off now. And also because my phone's about to die. So, thank you for watching this episode of The Fundamentalists. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. If you have a band, send us your shit. TheFundamentalists@gmail.com or The Fundamentalists at Facebook. Also, like our Instagram page. Already said that. Sorry. We'll see you next time. Ooh.